But yeah, now the community grows. So, without further ado, we're going to kick it off. Alti's going to take the commentary, and we'll be rocking. 3, 2, 1, rock.
And so first thing you can see is there's a player name, like most stories of its day. The hero is unnamed until you do it. So you can see we put in SNES there. And timing begins at start. So as soon as he enters the name and enters it and presses go, then it begins. So you can see SNES, please wake up. This is one of the 3 in the Quintinix trilogy. Probably the least well known. I did not know that this was a game until I saw it at Limit Break. As I said, it caught my eye pretty quickly. PJ ran it there, and I promised PJ I would get around to running it, and I've started to do it about the past month or so. And I've had nothing but a good experience here, and you're going to see pretty quickly. It's very self-aware, kind of a smarmy experience. So he's talking to Nagisa right now. So to give you a little perspective, this is not his mother. It's actually I guess an android that his dad invented is the best way to say it. Now it resembles his mother, which I'm not here to judge. Akihabara, which is the main character's dad. But making a robot that looks like your deceased wife and letting her raise your kid it's a little messed up to me, but teach their own. And what is going to happen here? So basically the premise of this is these guys called hackers have come from outer space in order to do nefarious things, and I won't ruin the whole entire plot for you. But they're going to cause some shenanigans here for the main character through his journey. He doesn't even know really what's happening at this point. He's just kind of doing what his dad tells him, which, again, his dad isn't the best father figure. I think you'll see that through this.
You'll notice I'm intentionally talking to NPCs from the side. This is to reduce frames of their walking, because you move much quicker than them, but they will walk all the way around your sprite to get where they're going, and they walk very slow.
Yeah, and they actually walk out of their way to walk back in front of you. So he's right, the path is wonky. So speaking to the NPCs at the right places, it definitely helps a little bit. So your dad left you with his robot that looks like your mother and some money and says, here, make robots your friends. So read the book. We now all of a sudden, boom, know how to make robots. So Nagisa is going to lead us the rest of the way through here.
If only knowledge was so easily matrixed like that.
Of course it is. So you can see the controller here. So this is the invention machine. And literally magic gnomes are going to help us create this robot. And you can see the control of it is the Famicom controller, which is the Japanese version of the Super Nintendo controller.
It's so colorful.
It is, yeah, and the real Famicoms, they look exactly like that if you've never seen one. So speedrunners are very familiar, usually, with the Famicoms. We have a love-hate relationship with them. And so here they go. The little gnomes are the best, man. I don't know what part they play, but they just kind of dance and create robots for you. So here's our first robot. You can see him wielding his sword and his gun, ready to soldier. And if it wasn't mentioned in chat yet, the other 2 games that are part of the Quintinix line is Terranigma and Illusions of Gaia, which are the more popular brands.
Actually, just to correct you there, that's the loose trilogy you're speaking of is Soul Blazer Illusion of Gaia and Terranigma. This was just sort of Quintet's first JRPG style game.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thanks for that. But this was definitely of what they made the least popular one. As I said, I did not know that it was a game until I saw it myself. So he's going to go in here, and you saw him do some stats. So stats are very important in this game, and one of the cool dynamics of Robotrek, well, there's 2 here. He's going really fast, so I'll try to keep up. The first is that you can change your player stats at any console like this, or when you level up. The second is you can actually program in certain abilities, and both of these things are going to be very important for the speedrun. The programming of abilities, from what I have heard and what I've experienced, it's not really very intuitive, and it's not really ever described. So knowing that you can set up your robot to attack a whole entire row, like we're going to be seeing here. So we're going to be doing a lot of very quick kills in the speedrun. And it was never really described anywhere that you could do that, unless you read the manual. So I hear. Again, I didn't play this as a kid. I bought my cart less than a year ago. And right now he's doing some shopping, so...
We want a lot of smokes. The selling
Yeah,
smokes
so-
to kids is the best.
Yeah, we definitely do not promote smoking, but in this particular run, we need to at least smoke a little in order to get past some enemies.
Just tell them about the use of the smokes. Uses.
Yeah, so smokes, the major thing you're going to do with them is avoid encounters. In Robotrek, you can see enemies before, well, for the most part, you can see them before they actually attack you. Sometimes they're invisible and they'll just appear and then attack you if you get close enough to them. But knowing that that enemies are like hot lava, you just don't touch them, you know, like the game you played as a kid. There's going to be a lot of that in this avoiding encounters. And so the first one is possibly throwing these smokes just to freeze the encounters so that we don't actually hit them. And secondly is if we get into an encounter we either A, can't win, or B, would take too much time to do, you can smoke out of that battle as well and kind of reset the area. The enemy doesn't disappear, if that makes sense, but they definitely give you the chance to either reset the battle or run away from that enemy.
I just realized
You
I
see him-
forgot something. We're gonna have to make a quick trip back.
Yeah, so items, especially in this first part, and money, as he's saying, are very important. This is one of the most tight runs I've ever played as far as financials. You have to collect enough money to get all the items you need, but there's not a lot of extra here. The game keeps it pretty tight on money, which is interesting since normally you get more money the more the game progresses, but this game really isn't like that at all. You just kind of get a slow flow of income that you're going to need eventually, and items as well. So I don't know which item he forgot, but...
I forgot the very first
item?
clean.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. So you have 2 early cleans available to you, and cleans actually cure status effects on robots, but we're not going to actually be using them for that. I don't even know if I've ever gotten a status effect in a run. But the cleans are going to be used for crafting, which is another big component of this game that was unique at the time. That may have not been the best described when you started out the game casually. So these cleans are very important. Even to progress in the game, you need them. So he's going to go back and get that clean, which he had to come back here for that cutscene anyway, so it's not that big of a time loss.
Yeah, I could have done it when we came back for Sword 2, but whatever. Oh, no, I couldn't have. What am I talking about? I need this clean, like, desperately.
Yep, you do need this clean. You cannot have dirty robots. You gotta keep it clean. Well, actually, these cleans, one's going to be used to create a shield item, which shields in these games are kind of broken. They're very overpowered. So shields are going to be used to exploit enemies and kind of keep them from hitting us. You'll see that later in the run. Right now, we're going to have to survive battles, but eventually we're going to try not to get hit. So you can see here the mechanic of him kind of getting enemies out of the way and getting some money there. As I said, money is very important, so even a couple hundred here and there is very important. And also what we're doing here is counting to 2. And what I mean by that is you can see when you level up, you get megabytes. It's very techy. So these MBs, we want to get to about 1.9. Actually, we're going to get to exactly 1.9, ideally, right now, because you can use a console. You know that console that popped up earlier with the Famicom controller? A miniature version or a limited version of that is available after you level up. And sometimes in the run, we're going to want to trigger that level up at the exact right spot, or else it would lose a lot of time going and finding another bench. So here he goes fighting robots. He's counting internally. Do you know where you're at?
0.9 left. I wasn't counting.
Oof. He can check this. It's not a big deal. He can check to see what he's actually at, but he does not want to hit 2 megabytes. He wants to be right under it right now. So he's
Yeah,
going to
you'll
check.
notice my movement through hostile areas is very intentional in order to manipulate the enemies to move the way we want them to. And can be very detrimental if you accidentally get side or back attacked before you get your second robot. It's pretty much a write-off.
So you can see he knew where these spawns were going to be. Some of these enemies appear in very predictable locations, that slime being one of them. So he was able to just sit there and wait for the slime to kind of come after him. So enemy movements, now you can see Dr. Einstein, right? It's definitely not referencing Einstein in any way, shape, or form. This guy thinks he's a genius, right? So he's going to save the kids right now. this is what's happening in the story. Is these kids got trapped in the mine. He's like, well, nailed it. So he's pretty happy with himself. In fact, he sees no problem with the situation. He's like, oh, well, you just don't understand what I'm doing. I'm just way too brilliant for anything you guys are thinking about. So he feels like he's done an adequate job, and he's going to go back to town now and have himself a cold one. He's done for the day. So the main character is going to think, well, maybe we should go check on these guys, these kids, just to be sure they're okay, because it did kind of blow up.
We're kind of low on experience here. We've been getting kind of bad encounters with just single enemies.
Yeah, and enemy encounters, there can be 1 to 3 enemies. You can see it's it's tile-based movement both as you run around the map, and also it's tile-based movement inside the battle itself. So you can see him just one again. So he's a little behind. He might have to respawn some enemies here.
Yep.
There he goes.
Yeah, we're gonna have to reset this. Okay, so unfortunately, if it's a 3, we're gonna have to smoke out. And of course, it's a 3. Why wouldn't it be anything but a 3?
So going in and out of his zone resets the room, and that allows enemies to come back. So he wants exactly, as I said, 1.9 megabytes, and he has that in his head. And the other thing also, that's an interesting battle that he just got into, because if you see the little Pokeball looking thing in front of the enemies, if you try to run a program while it has a Pokeball in front of it, you will miss that enemy or not do enough damage, and it will have a chance to hurt you. And then there's another one. You can see that in the single one, he had the exact same thing. So he had to smoke out of that one as well.
I'm gonna have to try and manipulate this next enemy. If it's a single, then I'm gonna have to smoke again and hope for a double or a triple.
Yeah, so he's going to keep on doing that. And he can actually run from these two, but it's not recommended because it's very possible he dies if he tries to run and fails. So here we go.
Hello?
He's gonna
settle down.
So he's leveling up here. Again, he's going to manipulate stats like he's doing. One thing he has to do here, which is why we had to level up right here, is he has to clean his drill. That's one of his cleans. The other one will be used to create the shield. So once he cleans that drill, it's all nice and shiny, and he can go save the kids for realsies, because Dr. Irons thought he did, or at least was satisfied with the result of what he had done. But we're going to go check on those kids anyways. So seeing him creating a shield as well, which is going to help with the next battle, which is Metacrab. Kind of a vicious enemy in the speedrun. It doesn't have a great chance or a really high chance to kill you, but it does.
That kid tried to jump in my way. Every time. I don't know what his problem is.
So someone just asked why it's important to say 1.9 again in chat. It's because we want to level up at certain times, as you saw the menuing that happened when the level up had occurred. And since he leveled up the right place, he was able to clean the drill right away without wasting any additional time, and then was able to save the kids and then leave. So you saw the little, definitely not Illusions of Gaia-esque kids run out of the cave. And then the one kid with green hair was left over, who was related to the secretary, as you see him run by as well. That's going to become relevant here in a second. And you can see Rose. Okay, so here's the mayor. He's kind of a shady guy, a very Bill Clinton-esque guy. He has this new secretary here that apparently is the talk of the town, who he's very in love with. And just keep an eye on her. Her name's Rose, so keep an eye on her. She'll become relevant later as well. There's a lot of different characters that will become active. A little foreshadowing. As I said, I think, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but the original name of this, wasn't it Slapstick?
Yes, that's correct. The Japanese version.
So the game knows that it's being very silly and that it's kind of self-aware. That's something that the game is built to do, is to kind of make fun of itself.
Take this, for example, for making fun of itself. You go to these computers, Connect. Welcome to Quintet Network. ActRaiser 2, Illusion of Gaia, popping into new releases. Buy them. No carrier.
Yeah. Definitely not a sponsor. So yes, absolutely. The game knows that it's being silly. If you go into a secret area later that has to do with that, again, I'm getting ahead of myself, but you can actually jack into computers. You'll see some very tongue-in-cheek stuff that happens there. And the storyline will just continue to get more and more confusing at certain times, but we'll try to keep you up to date on what exactly is going on. So here we go, back in the cave, have our drill equipped, able to go through it. So really what we're doing is we're looking for that green-haired kid, because he talked to the secretary and she said, "Oh noes, my kid is still missing." Because if you notice, we just kind of left him behind when we left this place the first time and said, "I'm sure he's fine." So
Spider.
going back through here.
So in this lower section I'm about to get to, I'm going to fight every single hacker enemy that I come across. And this should set my experience up to end up at level 6 at the end of the boss fight. Or best case scenario, I might hit level 4 before the boss fight, and the boss fight will go just a tickle easier. Also, sorry, just to add on, the reason I'm fighting these guys as well is they have a chance of dropping a punch item, which if they happen to do that, that's going to save us a bunch of time, at least like 30 seconds, 20 seconds later, so that's definitely something that we want to pick up if they happen to drop it. Plus they'll drop money and that always helps.
Yes, when these things drop Pokeballs, because this is basically Pokemon robots, from what you can tell, we're going to want to pick those up, especially early game, because it could contain quite a bit of cash money, and cash money is at a premium in this run, as I mentioned several times. So here's Metacrab. Metacrab is the shifty current boss-esque of the hackers. I don't know if he's the boss right now, but he's definitely a boss. And yeah, he's basically a giant crab head.
Ah, Cure. And sometimes they'll drop Cure, which is just garbage.
Yeah, so the 3 items that repair robots, we talked about the clean with the status effects. We also talked about the cures. No, we did not talk about the cures. The cures actually repair your robot as far as their health if they're not dead yet, whereas repairs will revive your dead robot. And right now, repairs are kind of useless to us because we only have one robot.
Getting bad drops from these guys, but drops nonetheless, I guess.
Oh, shot 1. All right. Yeah, not the best drop so far, but here you go. So we got the bighorn from Dad earlier, and you can see him using it right there to confuse the hacker to go investigate it. So some early Hitman or Metal Gear Solid type work there with the bighorn, making sure that you could distract the guard and get through it. So here's another one of the just arbitrary characters. His name's Kotetsu. He'll tell you that in a little bit as well. Really him and another character named Mint you're going to see throughout. They're just these side characters that are kind of arbitrary and just
Comic
not really
relief.
important. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're not really relevant to the rest of the storyline. They just kind of appear every so often and have their own little theme musics and basically are annoying in a lot of ways. I don't know how else to say it. Doesn't really add much to the overall plot. So once again, he has to pay attention to where those little Pokeball-looking basketball things with eyeballs appear. Because if one appears in front of an enemy, he cannot fight it until they vanish. So you're going to see a number in the top right corner of every battle, and that's your bonus. So if you defeat the enemies in that amount of time, you get a bonus set of experience. Upon hitting 0, those little Pokeballs will vanish, so what you can do is you can wait until that timer ticks down and then start to kill the enemies without wrecking yourself, essentially. So you can see he just got another level here. He's going to do a little bit of stat preparation for the next boss as well as he's going to combine some items here. So he needs a shot 2 because shot 2 is going to give him enough power to defeat Metacrab without it being too difficult. This is a very sensitive time of the run because we don't have our backup bot. And because of that, we can't have our primary bot die at all.
So, oh, so scary. mention something about that computer when we get back to it. Just a very small frame save.
And you can tell when he goes to these guards as well, they all say they're going to punish him. I don't know what the obsession is with guards punishing the kid in this game, but you'll see it many times where the guards are like, oh, you must be punished now, these hackers. So he's about to boil him some crab right now, because it's very normal to have giant crab heads just come alive and then take baths in these weird caves that have been apparently prepared to take baths in. So Metacrab is he's a little boiled right now. He's on the struggle bus right now. So grabbing a few things from the bookshelf, one of which is a key in order to rescue Kotetsu, who has gotten himself into some mischief. And that's the arbitrary character we saw a little bit ago and are about to see again. So again,
this computer asks you if you found the Tetron yet, and if you say no, it saves like 3 digits of text. Very, very small frame save.
And again, it's pointing out the kind of smarminess of the game is that it's like, oh yeah, the screen's broken, so it can't see you, so it doesn't know that you aren't actually Metacrab. Just the little conveniences that always seem to happen in RPGs, where you need something to happen and it all of a sudden happens. This game's full of those moments as well.
So I lined up my inventory after getting level 2 and making that other stuff, so that when I equipped the sound horn, it left an empty space. So then when I picked up this key, the key was 3 spaces over from the beginning of the inventory versus being on the other end and having to menu over like 7 or 8 times to get to it. So there'll be a few other instances where I line up my inventory just to save on menuing time like that. And this guy's a T-Rex. He will not see you if you don't move.
Menuing is very important in this game. The good thing about this game is there's very little delay at all as far as cursoring inside the menu. So the game will allow you to move basically as quickly as you want through those menus.
Yeah, you just gotta figure the... Oh, come on. You just gotta figure the rhythm. In this sense, I'm gonna ditch. Be faster. Anyway, yeah, you gotta get to the rhythm. Sometimes after making a selection, there's just this brief moment before you can move your menu cursor. But while you're actually menuing along, it should be fine.
Yeah, and you can see him smoke out of this one as well. That was the whole Pokeball in the face type thing that happens. When I first started running this, I would accidentally, looking at chat or something, attack during those sequences, and it always ends poorly. You do not want to.
Yeah, I didn't want to have to smoke. I really wanted that experience, but I think we should be good. We got some good triples in this place. And a double here, so that's good.
Yeah, so he's getting some lucky encounters on this part of it. Again, he wants to be level 6 when he comes out of here. I'm not going to say he wants to, he needs to be. And that's because he's going to learn a skill book in a little bit and do some menuing. And once he does that menuing, you'll see exactly why he needs to have level 6 at the end of this.
Safety save.
Safety save is important. Metacrab can be a jerk. And he has a physical attack that does a ton of damage. And so if you fall anywhere below 8 HP, there's a good chance that his physical attack will kill you. You can do anywhere from, I've seen 5 to 7, so I'm assuming that's what his range is. But 7 is just awful when you have exactly 7 HP. So what he's going to do is step forward 2 spaces because range affects how much damage his gun does, and he wants to get out of this battle in an optimal amount of time. So he takes 2 steps forward and just starts pressing the right button, because what you can do is you can run a program or you can use either hand. So you can see him just, well, if you could see him, he'd be just pressing the R button right now.
These blocks. Wow, the luck I'm getting on this fight is amazing.
And this is one where you want to have some good luck, especially in a marathon type setting.
Let them know about the charge bar and the deal there.
Yeah, so that's a good point. So the charge bar, you can see his empty and full meter. That's like the kind of the battle gauge, or when he's able to attack. And one thing I didn't know when I started that Jen actually told me about, because it's not obvious, is that if you mash the B button, it actually goes faster. And I kept ripping to this guy very early on in my runs, and I could not figure out why I could never pass him. turns out you have to mash the B button in order to fill up that gauge faster. So you can see him getting that heal in.
Alright, this should be the last hit.
Here we go. And so you can see the hits again. The 5 damage can do up to 7, and
You
that's
see how
why this guy
dangerous
is
this can be.
kind of painful. Yeah.
Oh good,
exactly.
we hit level 6. I was really worried about that.
Being level 6 now, he doesn't have to do any additional menuing. He doesn't have to change back to a sword or fight any other enemies. He can just basically run back to Rococo at this point.
Yep. Oh no, I want 4 guard. Sorry. And I'm actually the wrong color. Let me just adjust that real quick. That's better. And
So
you
he's
can
gonna
also
get,
heal
once
up.
again, yep, he's gonna heal, he's gonna set stats for the next part of the run. I'm to the point in my running now where I don't necessarily know why we set the stats we do, and I'm gonna rely on Jin to kind of pick up some of that. I just know when to set them, and a lot of when he'll be setting those is after bosses or after level ups, which again, this is one of the few speed runs where you don't want to level up too fast or too slow. You want to level up the exact right speed.
Well, we set up Metacrab so that we had just enough defense that he was only doing 1 or 2 damage to us with most of his attacks, minus his punch. And we only really needed the low HP because we want to max out as much damage as we can. And now the stats that just changed right now, we got rid of most of our defense, but we put it all into speed. It is because these enemies we're about to come across are very fast, and if you don't have enough speed, you will miss, and if you miss, you will die. And we can't do that until we get Robot 2. Ooh, anytime you see me drop my strength from what it once was, it's just to get through the next section, because we didn't need whatever extra strength points for that particular moment. But that's very rare that we change.
So the green-haired kid took up a litho, and we got a scrap that we're going to need later. And I forget, someone actually told me once, but I forget what a litho actually is. Do you remember what that is? Oh, okay, yeah.
I can't remember what it was when I looked it up, but yeah.
Yeah, so it's something, right? But we'll come back to that. That's actually going to be something that exists.
Out of the way, little boy.
Back to Rococo, we get to go get a reward from the mayor. So.
No, we got that already.
Oh no, we got the reward. Never mind. So we got the reward. Again, sometimes you forget exactly what triggers you're on. This game, a lot of the speedrun is going from trigger to trigger and talking to NPCs. So in this case, we got the reward from the mayor. Now this time we get to talk to the kid here. Carl is his name. Again, definitely not like anything you've seen in Illusions of Gaia as far as the hair goes, but a little green-haired kid here. And he's going to get a book here, and this book is only attainable at level 6. It makes allows him to make hammers, and he's going to use that book here in a second. So right now we're going to see some menuing. Right now we're going to go into here and make 6 swords and 1 hammer. And then if you keep combining those, I bet you did not know that if you combine a sword and a sword, it makes a slightly stronger sword. So we're going to start duct taping these swords together until we duct tape 7 of them complete together. 6 made. And then the other one is one that the robot started with. And then we're going to duct tape a hammer to that, and it's going to create an axe. And don't ask me how that works. He's the inventor. The kid knows what he's doing. So he's going to make sure that the swords and hammers all combine the right way to create an axe. And the axe is super powerful. Again, something the game probably didn't intend to have happen right away, but...
Yeah, we're stacking the swords because weapons have different tiers as well as individual levels, so we're going to make a level 7 sword, so when we mix it with the hammer, our axe comes out a lot stronger.
Yeah, and the enemies now, at this point in the game, will have, what, about 20 HP, and we're going to be swinging for about 110.
Yeah.
So,
it's absolutely devastating.
A little powerful.
Oh, my Slurpee's turned into liquid. And my dog just sneezed. Totally threw off my menuing.
And so this is the exciting part of the run where you do a lot of straight up menuing. And there's going to be a couple of these where we have to do some large amounts of menuing and creation. We're inventing, okay, we're creating. He's an artist and a scientist. So creating that axe, gonna do a lot of damage here. We're not really gonna need the gun anymore. The gun was just for that one battle. So in a normal run of this, casually, you are advised to keep a lot of different weapons on you because you never know what type of enemy is going to be weak to what type of weapon. We're only gonna really use three more weapons? Really?
Yeah. Yep, 3 more weapons. Once this one's all maxed out.
And they all have their particular uses, so, you know, we're going to use one weapon in one different scenario, which grind goes. It can be a long grind, it can be a short grind. We'll get to that in a bit. But so the menuing happens. Now he gets to equip that axe and go look for his dad, because Nagisa is going to remind us that we should go check on our father, of course. You can see how this relationship works. I don't think that Akihabara, if I'm pronouncing it right, is the best father in the world, like most Super Nintendo's games, RPGs, either have no father or a very bad one. This is no exception to that rule, because basically Dad, when he leaves all the time, he'll be like, hey, well, later.
The poor man must be just destroyed. I mean, he creates this replica of his dead wife, and like it must just break his heart to be around it, so he's got to live on his own out in the wilderness here.
Yeah, he doesn't even live with his son. Like, think about that. So he creates this wilderness cottage with all of his inventor money, creates his dead wife in robot form, and says, hey, kid, you know, do your best. Like, that's what he'll always say, is something along those lines is, hey, you know, like, just don't die, you know, do your best. Like, thanks, Dad. I'll remember these words forever. So not the best father.
I'm likely going to be cutting this shield too out of my PB attempts. We'll see how it goes. I'm just working on testing how it's going to feel without it. So I don't personally think it's all that useful.
I didn't actually see if you saved. Hopefully you did. I've had some bad experiences with these flames, even in this short amount of time that I've been running this game. They hit for a lot of damage.
These flames are exactly why we have 31 speed. With 31 speed, there should be absolutely no chance that we can miss on these guys. We just have to worry about getting back attacked by them. And he dropped a repair, which is the best. If a flame drops a capsule, we're going for it.
Yeah, repairs are very important. As I said, not until we get the second robot, but that'll be actually soon enough that we're going to get second bot here. So once we do that, the repairs are what's going to make this run possible. And we'll buy a lot, but also if we can stockpile some early, that's good too, because there's a few bosses that can go very unfortunately. And if you run out of repairs, you're just done. You have to go make more, buy more.
I've got some extra marathon repairs routed in that I'm going to buy when we give the letter to Carl. I'll buy a few there with whatever extra money I have left. But spoiler, what letter to Carl? Don't worry about it.
Oh yeah, no Leto, no letter to Carl. There's definitely, yes.
Oh wow, I've never seen that spider jump me like that before. But it doesn't matter. We'll just wreck him.
Yeah, and that's another thing. It speaks to the point I said earlier about how we're doing so much damage here that it's just stupid. So this is the Forest of Illusion. I can see how playing this casually would be very hard to get through this, but knowing the route to take, it's very easy. The only thing you have to worry about is the third screen, which is a bird. Birds are jerks. And you can see he got into the bird fight.
That's okay.
A lot of times you'll equip a smoke and you'll drop it right as you enter the screen to try to make the bird freeze in place. So I don't
like to do that because a lot of the time I come into this room and you know the waters just part just perfectly. So this time it was a little unlucky, a lot unlucky, but that's okay.
Yeah, and it seems like that's an RPG thing, is just birds are jerks. And okay, speaking of arbitrary characters, here's arbitrary character number 2. Mint, who you see more of the back of her head than you do the front, so I just always mention that it looks like the back of her head has a face on it, like a face.
It does.
It distracts me. It looks like there's 2 eyes and a little frowny mouth, and it's just, look at that mouth there.
You got Cousin It on the back of her head. Timmy's, bro, right? What?
Yeah.
Sorry, somebody dropped a Tim Hortons reference in chat, and you know I just have to pound out for that. Okay, safety save number 2.
Yeah, you can't save for this next section. You can only really save outside of these areas a lot of times. So once you go into the house, you can't really. It says, hey, there's no way you can save in here. There's too much of a distraction or too much interference. And this can be kind of a area that you can get wrecked in as well if you're not careful, or if the wrong enemy snipes you in a doorway, which can happen in a few places. Hopefully we don't see it today. So this place is definitely haunted, if you can't tell.
Yeah, don't mind that little doll that looks exactly like the doll from Soul Blazer.
Yeah, don't pay any attention to that, as well as the fact that it seems to be stalking you. And every time he sleeps, he seems to have more visions. Maybe it's all that smoking he's doing, I don't know.
Could be.
So you can already see by these visions that there's something ominous about the doll. There's no spoiler way of saying it. Just kind of watches you. And here's one of those sequences where you can't be seen. It happens.
See, I just overlapped that dude.
What's up?
I just overlapped that dude. I was literally stepping right on his heels and he did not care.
I mean, if he got caught, the worst that would happen is you just have to go sleep again.
Actually, you don't. If you just leave the room immediately, he'll re-trigger this. You won't have to actually jump into bed again.
Oh, well. I learned something new today. Hopefully you never get into that situation, because if you have, then you've done something horribly wrong anyway, so...
Yeah, you were being too silly.
Boredom kills runs. And that goes for almost every game. Boredom kills runners.
Okay, so if you haven't noticed, this whole castle, run by Count Prinky, is a giant Castlevania reference, as will be described here in this little vision book. Oh, his name is Jean-Paul Belmont, and his castle has a clock tower.
Alright, once again, we see some more visions happening over here. Because he fell down the hole and apparently got knocked out and had another vision. It's something, I don't know. Or he read the book, right? The book gave him a vision. He seems to be reading. He has a powerful imagination, okay?
That'd be wicked if books worked that way. They just put images into your head. I mean, like, that's what they're supposed to do, but do they work anymore?
That would be great. I mean, that makes studying a lot easier. Although I don't know if you craft visions, what that would look like. That might scare me a little bit, so maybe it's better that it doesn't do that in real life.
I remember when I had an imagination.
And then life killed it. Became cynics.
Alright, all we can do with these series of fights is hope that the capsules don't troll us.
Yep, and if they do, you can reset the fight, but you have to kill all of these encounters in order to progress to the next section, so...
If there's a capsule, I'm not going to smoke out, try and reset the fight, I'll just wait the timeout. But sometimes, if there's... because the timer depends on how many enemies are in the screen, so if there's 3 enemies in the screen, it's almost always better to just smoke out, you'll save time.
Yep, and if there's one, you can see the timer says 10 seconds. It's 10 seconds for every enemy on the screen. So if there's 3 and there's a capsule on the way, then you just, smoke out if you can. And usually we buy enough that we have more than enough smokes to deal with every situation, unless the game is being extra a jerk at that moment. So getting all the items here, well, all but one. One lonely little capsule left over. Comes through here, and you're gonna see now Flavor Flav over here, Flavon, and he lost his dog. So this is actually your dad's partner, his companion, his adventurous buddy, and he's gonna tell you about his dog. And his dog is going to have a shiny, kind of a shiny obsession. So you equip the shiny stone that you have, and you go and you find the dog here. He's going to take this kind of carefully. Again, if you touch the enemy, you will get target the encounter, so regardless of how that is. Initiative in this game depends on how the encounter and how the touch actually happens. So if you hit him from behind, you're probably always going to get the initiative. If you have enough speed, even head on will. Only problem is if he hits you from the side or some other wonky combination happens, then they may get the initiative. And in this place, it's very bad if they get the initiative.
Accidentally said no to Prinky. There is one thing about encounters that I've noticed. Enemies are T-Rexes, so literally if you just stop moving and you stand still, unless they hit you from behind, they will not get initiative on you. But if you move even the slightest frame while they're coming at you from the sides, then they have a good chance of getting it.
Oh. Get to hear those runner noises as the enemies just about get him every single time.
Oh, my dog is just freaking out in the background.
Doge. So
having some sort of roll around on the ground fit.
We're having both in-game and in real life Doges right now. So return the dog. Apparently he takes his dog on adventures and the dog just wanders off. Apparently that's what happens. So apparently everyone hates Mint as well. That's one thing. He's like, well, now that the girl's gone, no conversation.
It's amazing how many people
thing.
say now that the girl's gone, wait for her to leave.
Right, yeah. No one seems to like Mint. I'm just going to assume that there's not a bunch of misogynistic characters in here and that like it's just Mint and her personality. That's what I choose to believe, at least, because Mint is kind of annoying. I wish that she would leave sometimes, too, just because of who she is.
She's April
So you're going to see that a
O'Neil.
lot. April O'Neil, yeah. Yeah, I don't know who goes that far. So if you missed it, she's a reporter, and she's always chasing that big story. And Kotetsu, the other guy, is kind of like a treasure, kind of adventurer, fortune hunter, and is always after that next big score. So those two are both kind of following you around, thinking that you have some cool story
What the
or
heck?
treasure.
Oh. I'm like, why isn't the Y button working? Guess it helps if I equip the item.
So yeah, once again, the Bighorn is going to help us out here. You can see him menuing over to it and selecting it and using it. The Bighorn, again, makes a loud noise, as you probably heard on stream. And these guys are freaked out because the place is haunted, so you could hear the guards talking about that a little bit ago, of like, oh, we're so scared because the lights are turning on and off, and there's ghouls, and there's guys in cloaks walking around, and all this other stuff. So we're scaring the guards, the hackers, away in order to progress the story. And here we're going to flicker the lights a little bit, make one guard run off there, run past him. And you can see the face on the back of Mint's head again. So here's Mint with a little head face. And so yeah, she keeps, I don't know who's that dedicated to the job where they just go in all these dangerous situations to get the story. In fact, I don't even know what news broadcast she works for, because you never see her go and actually deliver the said notes. She just keeps on following and collecting notes, whatever's happening, the big story. So again, arbitrary characters for comic relief or satire, whatever they're supposed to be representing in that particular section. For some reason, they just exist. Just gotta deal with the Mint and the Kotetsu's side stories that add absolutely nothing to the overarching.
Oh, you jumped me. I think her true life's ambition is to become a novelist.
To make those robot books, the robot learning books.
Mhm.
You can see him get sniped. This is exactly why this area is dangerous. Why I say it beforehand, because this part of the run can be kind of ornery. Through even doorways, they can snipe you, and there's not a thing you can do about it.
If you hold down when you get into that room with the hackers, you'll always avoid that first guy, but you just gotta hope that the second guy doesn't immediately come after you and get you in a pincer. But using a smoke in there is also an option. I'll smoke on the way back out, but I don't typically when I first enter.
This kid does a lot of smoking. So here's Flava Flav over here taking a nap, getting hassled by the locals. So we have to beat up this hacker as well. Apparently that one guy was actually 3, they stagger pretty well. They hide their numbers pretty well. And we're gonna tell him that it's okay. I think that's what you say, right? Is that it's okay? And then he just kind of says, "Okay, we'll step aside. Go ahead and talk to this guy."
There he goes.
So-
I didn't recognize you. And then once you tell him that you're the boss, he steps back. Oh, back up, Flame. Oh, what am I doing?
So we got some more items there. We get again more cash money, which is going to be important, and a repair was in there as well. So we're going to wait for this flame to get out of the way. And
We're gonna gain level from this flame, but we're not gonna stat up yet, just in case.
And you saw the that he just all of a sudden had an idea for a relay. So what's that? Well, what that's about is sometimes you're going to have to make or learn items in order to progress the game. For some reason, the old guy saying, "Hey, by the way, my dog may know where the key is because he hides shiny things." All of a sudden, wow, I just thought of a way to speak to animals. How convenient. So he's going to have to go make that item now, as well as we're going to finally get our second robot. Second robot's going to make this run a lot more safe. I'm sure that he's going to breathe a huge sigh of relief the second that he creates that, because that's going to allow him to survive just about any situation we get into, minus running out of items, which I don't think he'll get.
Oh baby, yes. So we're gonna stat up this robot here, and then we're not gonna touch him again until he's level 20. Or sorry, rather level 20. That's right. Just to save on time spent putting his stats in all the time. Just a little bit of extra menuing if we don't do it or if we do it later.
Yeah, and as mentioned, stats are super important. The game is interesting that it lets you change robot stats so often. So you can kind of just make your robots complement each other that way. So basically we're going to have primary robot, which is going to be the attacker for the most part. And then backup bot that stacks up on HP and defense and just keeps the first robot on their feet, really. That's his only job, is to not let the first robot ever really see dirt. So that's why repairs are important. The second robot's going to be dropping those like they're hot on the first robot. You can see him here.
Oh, whoops. I forgot to adjust robot 1. Haha! Haha haha! I'm actually supposed to do that before I created the other robot. Okay, so what do we want here again? Sorry. I'll get rid of everything. Everything!
Yep, and then, he made the relay, right? You made the relay? I didn't see it.
Yep, I made the relay.
Made the relay, so now we can talk to animals, because he had that idea randomly of how to do that.
Okay, so I'm going to line up here, equip the relay, and that's going to open that spot for the key, so I don't have to menu as much to get to it later. Sorry, go on.
Alright, so talk to Doge, got the key. Now we can kind of exit this and go to the lighthouse. This is a long split, in my runs at least, and it's just a long area to go through. It's basically everything in this game is a maze. And you have to talk to a bunch of different triggers, and if you miss one of those triggers, you have to go back and do it without being able to progress the game. So knowing exactly where to go and who to talk to is probably the hardest part of this run in general. I've gone through many different fails as far as that's concerned, of forgetting to talk to a certain NPC, like Mint, for example. In a little while, you have to talk to her to trigger some stuff. And Jin's a pro. He's not going to forget any of these triggers.
Oh, no. You need to save me. I'm really bad for forgetting a step every now and then.
So here's the lighthouse. There's a lot of switches you have to hit. This part is actually pretty straightforward once you know it.
There was a lot of
anytime this
extremely intentional movement in the lighthouse. Hugging walls and whatnot. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, manipulating spawns. Either not appearing at all or trying to get them to move in a certain way. Because again, like this, the mummy trolls him here,
mummy.
and he's
Mummy? Hello? You can just get away from the door now, please. What are you doing? Go away. Okay, good. Jeez. This is my nemesis right here. I'm surprised that mummy was being so mean to me. That little puff is the worst.
That's a little puff. Again, I have no idea what these enemies are supposed to be for realsies. They just...
He's some sort of cloud.
Yeah, something. I don't know. But the mummy here is really keeping him wrapped up in this part of the area. So, got around him finally. And again, every time you hit it, you see a switch in this area. You have to hit it. Once again, like mice again hate mint as well. So everything hates mint, including mice. So equip the relay, find out that there's a baby mouse inside her bag. And so she gets in a lot of trouble with a lot of people. I don't even know if there's anyone that actually likes her. I don't think she has any friends. So maybe that's why she's always chasing the story and putting her life at risk, because she has nothing.
She's got 4 guys with really bad skin who live in a sewer as friends.
Yeah, that's true. The turtles, yes. April O'Neil over here. But Mint is just the worst character in my opinion. I don't like her.
I don't like her
is not much better, but
nobody likes her.
I know it's just a terrible character. So again, he has to defeat both his enemies here. They're both going to drop money 100%. Cash money's good. He hasn't gotten a lot of extra money now, which is not great. You hope to get at least 1 giant money drop in this early game in order to make the next set of shopping a little bit more convenient or a little easier, so you don't have to come back and shop later. But he hasn't got a lot of cash drops, so you got to keep your eye on that as you go through the run. So again, I'm going to hit more switches here. Pretty straightforward once you know to do that. When I first started this run, I missed a lot of those switches, even though it's pretty obvious where they are, but you have to keep hitting all those, and that just opens up the next obvious path to go to the next area. You're about to see the boss here in a little bit. And by see the boss, I mean, just for a second, see all this set up. It's kind of anticlimactic the way that this first segment encounter with her ends.
Oh, she just gave me a beautiful pattern just earlier today in practice. But we'll see what happens. There is a very slim chance you can die.
Yeah, this boss can kind of be a little bit of a troll as well. Because what it's going to do is it's going to duplicate itself, and you have to pick the right one to hit. And if you don't, then sometimes it can just kill your first robot magically, or get a lucky hit off, and then you can continue that pattern for a while until you find the right one. And duplicate itself over and over again, and it can be either very trolly, or you can go in and just 2-shot it and it's over with. So we'll see what we get today.
Alright, so this should be the last safety save ever, but I'm still going to make a few more just in case we have some really, really bad RNG and lose a lot of repairs, or I have console issues. But luckily we can save anywhere pretty much. It takes a second, it's not a big deal.
Here we go. Here's that little bug that he has to fight. Again, you can see it split right away. You have to select the right one. First one was wrong.
Point of note, she cannot change rows. She can make her duplicates to get into... Oh, I'm dead.
Yep, this is how the boss can definitely troll you. Is it gets a lucky shot off on your robot, and then it just sits there and it dances, does that little dance just to taunt you. This little magical wand. He knows where the right bug is now. I just has to find a way to kill it. So that's your first time you're going to get to see the repair.
She head faked me. Crap. Okay, so she can change rows. My apologies, but the other ones cannot. And that's sort of how you spot her if the other ones are dead. She's not being very nice, but that's okay.
Yeah, this is some early trolling. This is about the worst case scenario for this battle so far. You can see that when the enemy duplicated, one of them was right on top of his robot and just kind of poofed right away. That's kind of nice when that happens. That
this better be her. Yeah, she also has a chance to switch with one of her duplicates every round. Boom! There we go.
And sometimes it's actually useful to use your triple strike. Sometimes it's not. I saw a question in chat about the combos.
Oh.
And the combos are going to be used a lot, but in this particular boss, it's not really in your best interest to do the triple strike.
Yeah, if you want to talk about the run resistance, like how run commands don't work.
I know enough to run the game. Again, kind of new to the run, but there are inputs that you can do. And I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but didn't go too in depth with it. But there's certain combos you can do when you're inside the programmable menu. So either when you level up or when you're at the console that you see in certain rooms. You can create these abilities, and for example, there's an RXR, which is Roxor, right? And that will attack every enemy in a row. And we're going to use that at the beginning. We're eventually going to switch to one that back attacks a single enemy a bunch of times. And then we'll switch to one that triple hits an enemy, a single enemy, or strikes once with or 3 times with the weapon they have equipped, which for a magical weapon you're going to see is very overpowered. Next dungeon, so when we get to Volcano, we're going to pick up a magical weapon that's going to be one of the most powerful, most sinister weapons in the game for what we're trying to do here. So again, finally beat the Moth, and now Mint is going to come. The ghosts are going to say farewell.
If the money's really tight, I may very well sell that. FYI. I don't use it as much as PJ does.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to see some different routing than what I'll do.
Well, I might not. We'll see. It all depends on the cache. It is still more convenient to have it, because it's basically there to keep you from getting trolled from capsules. But if worse comes to and the money is really short and we need repairs, well, it's going to be the first thing to go. But hopefully that won't be a problem. Otherwise, the other thing about run resistance is certain enemies and bosses, run commands, certain enemies and bosses have resistances to it, so I'll be able to only do single strikes on certain bosses because of this. But other ones will just wreck them.
Yep, absolutely. So hopefully we won't have to sell it. I guess if he does, he does. There's actually a lot of spots to get money in the late game, so I've never had a run where I just plain out did not have enough money. I've come close to that point, but even with very minimal money drops, you can usually find enough in game in order to fund what you're doing.
Yeah, as long as you get the mayor's stashed money, then you're totally fine. That's the only real time I find that money is really tight is when you go to make your turbo pack and whatnot.
Yeah, so there's going to be some very exploitable, powerful items later in this run.
So now I walked all the way up here to get the punch. I was really hoping to get it dropped from one of those hackers in the first dungeon, so I wouldn't have to walk up here and grab that. As well, that would have saved me the time it takes to make it in the machine, which is kind of time-consuming.
Yeah, and you can see that it was level 7 for that book, and he was level 6 last time he went up and learned things in the house. So he was 1 level off, but that punch is very important for the grinding that we do in this game, because there's one real area where we're gonna have to really grind out experience, and we need that punch in order for that section of it. And we'll get more into that, but it is going to be one of the funniest grinding sequences you've ever seen, I assure you. So look forward to that. And those that have seen this run, either my chat or someone else's, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So that'll be a fun one. But now you can see the main character finds himself with a free luxury cruise over to this weird volcano, which is definitely not a trap and definitely not trying to lure him into something sinister. We're going to the village here. Village is a bunch of natives here. You can see Mint's already at the scene. She's on top of it, and she kind of gives a foreboding warning about how maybe it's a trap, or we're so gullible, or we're so stupid for following the message to come here. But what else were we going to do with our lives? Come on, we had to come check it out, right? And the shaman, he's kind of a jerk as well. You can already tell that he's an evil cat. I'm gonna go sleep again, and every time we sleep, we're gonna get a nice little vision of the past. There's a lot of time that plays into this, and at one point you're going to learn exactly how that all ties in, but the fabric of time is definitely investigated in this game, both past and future. And here we have Samurai Shredder. Again, all the parallelisms to Ninja Turtles are happening right now, Jen. I guess I see your point with Mint being April O'Neil. Now we got Robo Shredder going on over here. So the guide's going to take us over to the volcano. And I mean, going to a volcano with lava oozing out of it is, of course, a touristy thing to do, right? Like, that's what people do all the time. Not dangerous at all. So he's leading us here. Again, definitely not a trap at all. So don't expect there to be a plot twist. Now he's going to avoid enemies here. These are, again, some trolley enemies in this section. Those spiders, in every single context that they appear in this game, we want to avoid them. Spiders have high speed. They kind of wreck you. This encounter is basically required. This seems to move the same way every time you come through it, so taking the encounter is pretty normal. And you can see as we ran through it, the first thing the guide that we had did was taunt us and how we're now stuck forever inside here and we have to serve the deity. And this guy, this hacker here, they built this very complex, very well-architected base underneath this volcano. And he's like, oh, by the way, you're a slave now, and if you try to run, we're going to throw you in the volcano. No big deal. Have fun. Have fun being a slave. Although he didn't really tell us what he's supposed to be doing while he is a slave, but nonetheless, here we are as a slave. And so a lot of this part of the run, the most interesting things happen inside the Crapper. So here we go to the Crapper to trigger another event. He's gonna this guy here. We're gonna hear him over talking about the boss and how the boss makes people do dirty things if they step out of line. And by dirty things, I mean quite literally. Clean bathrooms, for example, is one of the things that the bosses here make you do if you step out of line. A lifetime sentence as a janitor is a very possible thing in the hacker world. So we overhear them talking about that, and instead of taking a risk that we may tell somebody, he gives us a stamp so we can get into the private club over here. Stamps our hand, gives us access. And I don't know if Jen cut out. I'm not hearing his voice anymore, so I don't know if he's
Still
muted
here.
or...
I'm still here.
Oh, okay. There's another area where you get sniped.
Yeah, ideally I just stand still, wait for him to come, but he looked like he was giving me an opening, so I went for it, and then he was like, ha! Oh, go away.
These micro robots, they control you too. I hate those
whatever.
little tiny ones.
We're gonna die. We need to lower our experience anyway to set up for 11, so whatever, we'll kill some of these guys if they're gonna get in our way. They want to taste the axe, well, they're gonna taste the axe, I guess. Ooh, what's that? Is that a punch? Clean. Weak.
Yeah, the cleans are basically useless at this point of the run. The only time to create repairs, you can use them with a cure, and it creates a repair.
Might just do that if things get dicey.
Wait for it. "100 years of toilet cleaning." There you go, dirty things. Did I not tell you that it's a very easy thing to get janitor duty if you make the bosses angry in the hacker world? So, 100 years of janitor duty. That's good, but not as good as a lifetime. What he's going to do here, he's going to get caught by these guys. So when you get caught by these guys, they send you back to the starting area. And it just so happens it's faster to get caught by him and be sent back here to the first conveyor belt. So he's going to do that, and once again, where do you think we have to head? When in doubt on this split, if you're speedrunning it, just head to the Crapper. The Crapper is life right now. for us. It's where all the activity is in this part of the run.
Absolute hub of activity.
It's where the cool kids hang out.
So they put smiley faces on urinal cakes. Okay, so I'm gonna kill one, maybe two of these froggies, if depending on how much experience we get from the first. Oh, you're a jerk!
Yeah, and I don't know if they're frogs or dinosaurs or I don't really know what those things are. Just
Oh,
know
I'm
they're
dead.
there.
This is why it's extremely important to watch how you enter an encounter.
Unfortunately, we have backup bot, so it's when he says dead, he means dead as in that robot, not dead as in.
Yeah,
The run is
the run
over
can't
or
die at this
something.
point. We're good to go. Looks like we'll be getting those backup repairs though. So if this is a 3, that's all. Oh no, it's a single. So we're gonna have to fight a second one of these frogs. The toads.
Are they frogs?
Well, their name is Boss Toad, so I guess they're a toad.
Oh yeah, okay. So I guess I never even looked at the name of them. I just always thought they were like weird dinosaur things, but apparently they're toads. Learned something new. I guess that would help if I read.
Still not very good for the experience.
Yeah, and they do have an
Holy
umbrella.
Oh no, we're
Of course I
alright.
know.
We'll go with this. Spider, go away. Don't even play this game.
And you can level up after this this area as well if you really have to. So some money, some cash money is good.
Yeah, I actually try to set up so that those 2 slimes that you're forced to fight in the boss chamber there, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I try to set it up so they give me the level. Go away, go away. I don't like this guy. He is my nemesis. Oh, whatever. Looks like we're fighting him. What the hell just happened?
Yeah,
there?
those alligators are super aggressive. I don't like those little alligator things at all.
No, it's just a gator's head. A little bouncy gator head. Don't ask. Slapstick.
Because Robotrek, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Where the rest of his body is, I don't know.
Oh, my movement is really off right now. I'm gonna totally have to Metal Gear Solid through the next section.
Yeah, so there's hidden enemies. There haven't been a lot of hidden enemies yet in the game. And this is our first chance to get a few of them.
Go down! You want to hug that wall immediately to avoid encountering that guy, but there's still a chance. There's invisible enemies in those rooms. Here's another spot. If you're really, really low on repairs, like what we got, how many right now? 3? That's fine. If I had like 1 repair, I'd probably pop into the shop here and buy 2 repairs, even though they're super expensive. They're $4.50 in this town.
We don't got that cash money to spare.
You gotta do what you gotta do. There's still a chance that Big Eye can take us out. You know, he gets a really lucky hit.
One thing that's interesting about this run is you can actually smoke or run away from most bosses. So if you do get into a lot of trouble, you'll lose a lot of time, but you can run from a boss and reset up. The only exception to that is Bug later.
Yeah.
I found that out the hard way. I mean, you can run from Bug, but you will essentially soft lock yourself if you don't have the right equipment.
Yeah, we're gonna be saving right before the Bug rooms. And
But for the
in
most
fact-
part, if you set up it, well, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say we're gonna be doing another safety save just so I don't mess up the experience route.
So what's happening in the story here is you're being offered as a sacrifice, as a fake sacrifice to the deity in this box here, tribute. And this allows you to get back into the base. Kotetsu did all that work to get you out of the base, and now you're going right back in. With Mint, of course, because Mint needs her story. We all know Mint. It's all about that story.
Really not a fan of this room. Oh, I can't believe that guy didn't see me. You, over here.
So we go, run past these guys. You can see some enemies are very aggressive. They'll follow you quickly. Those are the ones that can kind of get you, because sometimes they take actually pretty intelligent pathing. The pathing is predictable, but sometimes it's just very good pathing where they can cut you off if you're not careful.
Sometimes you just panic, or at least that's my problem.
Yeah. No, panicking is acceptable. Sometimes these guys move very quickly. So once again, what do we do if we don't know where to go? Back to the crapper. This is where we're at. So Min's here trying to get that story, but she can't enter this area because it's a Min's room. So we have to go in there and investigate this for her.
Accidentally talked to Mint twice. This is why it's important to end conversations with L and not A.
Yes, that is... You don't want to double Mint. So... This is one of the, you can see him buffering right here. So there's actually lasers, invisible lasers that are at those two little prongs coming out of the wall at their intersection. You're gonna see it here again, right there. So he's gonna buffer and run past them. If he triggers them while the laser is active, which you cannot see, guards will start spewing out of the doors, and he wouldn't probably get caught by them, but it would waste some time. So he buffers some random inputs there just to make sure that he hits them at the time where they're not active. So that's why you saw him kind of do that little... I don't know, what even is he doing there when you press A randomly? Like, what is that object he has in his hand? I don't know.
Looks like a magnifying glass? I'm talking to the door.
Oh, okay.
That's my guess.
I didn't even know what he had in his hand there. A magnifying glass or something, yeah. He just reaches out his hand and there's some object. So, but we got the key in the tribute room. And we found out in the last section there's an invisible wall there. There's something conspicuous and can't get through. And that's a trigger for the next part of the story. And you have to talk to Mint again as you come out. Again, one of those story triggers that if you don't do, you can't progress. Kotetsu is hiding out in the lunchroom. And then you talk to the chef here, who just happens to need you to run some lunch over to R&D. And you have to make some chameleon glasses to see the door. And Kotetsu, if you missed it, was like, well, yeah, I have some chameleon glasses, but I'm not going to give any to you because you need to find your own, scrub. So Kotetsu, again, kind of a jerk, one of those, another sub-character. Oh yeah, getting trolled a little bit here by spawns. Oh, I gotta love that about this game. And very aggressive enemies. So...
That's bad.
Another couple laser sections.
This is not good. Oh, look at that. Look at that! Oh, what's up?
Triggered the enemies so you can see the enemies spewing out of the area. You got a free path though through it. It's very rare. You actually got some fortunate movements there. RNG on his side. So he's gonna get some scraps here as well as some money. There's money to his left as he's walking down. There's also 2 rooms here that he's gonna want to hit.
There was actually a little manipulation in dodging those guys, staying back on the bridge like that, but I didn't expect them to stop that far. I've never been that far back. That could be useful. But
yeah, anyway. Yeah, there are some ways to manipulate enemies in here. I don't know all of them. Jen is way more skilled at doing that than I am at this point. I just run the game. At this point, I'm still at that stage of it. So he's bringing the knowledge here on the manips.
Oh, no, this is so bad. He's gonna totally catch us. Yep. Bad line.
One thing you can do here is you can hope that if the text box is up,
I'm gonna kill him.
You can't.
No, we're not gonna kill him. No, we're not gonna kill him. We can't kill him. Can't risk it. Experience is too low.
So I'm gonna smoke.
Oh my god, let me in! What the hell?
So one thing you can do here is text boxes on doors. They don't allow you to get into encounters when the text boxes are up. So one thing you'll see him do, and he was just kind of in a stuck situation there. But otherwise, you can leave the text box up until the enemy's no longer touching you, and then close it really quickly and run into the door, which is a tactic that he'll probably use at some point or have to use at some point. That time he couldn't do it, so what is it? A chimera? I don't even know what that thing is. It's a lion with fairy wings.
Yeah, some sort of chimera.
Robotrek's version of that. So here's some interesting menuing. We're gonna get one of the most powerful weapons in the game, possibly the most powerful.
Oh, it is the most powerful by far.
I didn't know if there's a saber as well. Or something
yeah.
like that.
No, statistically,
maybe-
it is the most powerful.
Right, and so basically he's going to have very creatively named Axe 3 level 9 by the time he's done, which seems arbitrary, but it's the most powerful weapon in the game. To do that, he's going to have to make another Axe 1 level 8, and then he's going to level up one of his axes to level 3, so Axe level 3. Combine all those to Axe 3 level 9, and then he's going to shred some enemies and bosses doing that.
The way this game provides you with stuff, you could potentially make this weapon right before the second boss, that butterfly boss, which is how I used to do it in my old route, but the old route that I worked off of PJ's SDA route just has too much dangerous grinding and annoying grinding. Grinding in this route is much safer.
And so that's one thing we're going to do right here, is we're going to make another axe level 1. No, sorry, Axe 1 level 8, because there's two different numbers that matter. There's the version of that weapon, and then there's the level of that weapon. So making a punch here as well. We're going to level up punch to version 3 using scraps, which will allow us to do some grinding that would otherwise take a lot longer. The grinding itself could take a long time, but rest assured, it saves time on what would have to happen if you did not do the grinding the way that we're going to do it with the punch.
My
And this
combo
is the
buffering
last-
is off.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so the combos, as we said, you can program those combos in. Right now we're using Raxer, but we're going to change it to XRR, which will be jumping back the enemy and very voraciously punch the back of them. So we'll be using that to grind in a little while. And this is the last real weapon creation we're going to have to make in the R&D room. Or not the R&D room, it's just this room that Kotetsu wants you to go to. We'll get Sword 4, which is a magical weapon, and then between the Sword 4, Axe 3 level 9, and the Puncher that we got here, we'll be setting weapons in for the rest of the run. So you can see the menuing continues. This is by far the longest section we have of just creating items and doing the creative stuff you'd have to figure out in a casual run, but we're just doing it all in one sitting because we know what to do and how to make the most powerful items.
Oh, I scrapped 7 there again. Oh, because I got that extra item. That clean just messed up my inventory.
Fortunately, just a small time waste. So again, we're gonna make punch 3 here. So I don't know how to describe that. You're just gonna have to see how we use the punch. I don't know how to really describe it in such a way that is gonna make it sound flattering for the actual grind that we're gonna be doing. So just wait and see. That'll be in a little while, not anytime in the near future.
Welcome to Purple City.
Yeah, so this is
Oh, come on, Jin.
this is where people's eyes usually burn. Now, there's a couple sections where we're gonna have to wear these glasses. And ooh, wow, just took down the robot right away too.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Because I hesitated. If I'd have just ran, would have been good.
There's no respect right now for this robot. Usually these things will miss you at this point, but I mean,
That was supposed to
at
be a
least in my
single buffer.
experience.
Wait, well, I'm gonna make that, when I make boots 5, I'm gonna make that, repair with the clean. I don't like
we
my
have the
repair
extra clean.
situation.
Yeah, and that's what we were saying earlier, is the clean and the cure can be combined to make another repair, and it's good that he has that, because you might need that repair at this
Because
point.
I have been dumb. Let my poor robots die.
Yeah, that happens. I mean, every run, unless you just are on point, you're gonna get into a few random encounters. And he's just been getting unlucky with the way that those encounters hit him, and he's not been getting the first hit or the first chance to run, and that's what's been really killing this first robot. So again, buffering inputs. You can see the lasers this time. You saw that if you didn't have the glasses on, then I don't know. I'm red colorblind actually, so I don't really know what color it is. I just know that a lot of people complain about it. I think it's red, right? Or you said purple.
Yeah, it's like this reddish purple.
It's one of those
I call it Purple City.
It's a warm color of some type that I can't see. So maybe I'm fortunate in that way. Maybe that's why it doesn't bother me. But I know that PJ will actually take off the glasses when he can, as to not kill people's eyeballs. But I don't care. In my runs, I'll leave them on for.
Yeah, I'm kind of a jerk too.
It is optimal to leave them on, so that's why I do it. So Einst here, again, sometimes things aren't going to make a lot of sense in this run. Einst is sad that you read his diary and now he turned you into a mouse. That's as simply as I can put it.
Love it.
He's kind of a sensitive soul, a sensitive artist. And here's Mint with her back face. And now we're gonna see the first time Mint and Kotetsu meet. And right away, Kotetsu's gonna be like, I really don't like this chick. Like, that's like his first thing that he says is like, yeah, can you just, hey Mouse, if you understand English by some chance, can you please just scare her off? She hates mice, so you can see her running into walls because she's scared of the little mouse. So Kotetsu's like, hey man, you know what? I'm gonna repair you real quick, but first you gotta go and get me some cash money. So as a mouse, we can sneak through some of those grates. You can see the grates at certain locations. We'll be able to sneak through those and find the treasure room of this area. First, we gotta go to the potty once more and get back to the main level because it's telepotty. So we telepotty back to the main area, and we gotta find the mouse hole that will allow us to get the money that Kotetsu wants, as well as some other items, including the Sword 4, which is the magical weapon that's gonna help us out with this run. But of course, nothing's ever as simple as you think it'll be. So the mouse in the grate is going to say, well, I know like you need through here, but like we're gonna